everybody, it's Thrifty Crafter here, and I'm here to share my new collaboration with the 3D collaboration that's the year-long with Leslie Brumfield and the other talented artists and creators. I'll link them in the description box. This is still the theme of beach, and I went with the cooler. And you can open it up and fit lots and lots of goodies inside there. And I will show you how I created it. It's got a good bottom, solid, and we've got a nice little handle here, and it's just really cute. It just reminds me of my family when we had the little igloo or the Platemate. And I'll show you this all decorated once I get finished. All right, but let's go into how to create it. Let's see. All right, I have my packet here. Well, first we have to create this design here. So let's figure out how we do that. All right, to start with, we're going to want to start with a piece of paper. We're going to do a 2.5 by 5.5 inch piece of paper, and you want to use a nice 65 pound or extra heavy cardstock. Now this is just the 65 pound, and I think this is good. I think this works, especially if you're going to layer it with other different, we're having a storm right now, with other different designer papers to make it really cute. All right, so I hope I'm in frame here. Let's just back this up a little bit. All right, so I always use the measurements on the bottom of the board towards me. It's just easier for me to see them. So we have the board here, and it's 2.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And we're gonna kind of go on this edge so you can kind of measure closer to you. And do you see that where we're gonna do the 2, where you see we're gonna do the 2 inch right here. We're gonna put a dot, and this is gonna be in pencil so we can erase it. And then we're also gonna do on the 5.5 inch side, we're going to measure at 2 3/4 inches. And then you're just going to kind of do a swoop here. This is going to make that swooping edge of our box. So it's really up to you how you want to swoop it. But I just kind of did a little swoop that kind of looked like the cooler. All right. And then we're going to cut this out, and we're going to have one of these. So then we want to do one and then flip it over and do another one. Okay, and you don't need 2 of this. We're going to just do this one design like that. So we're just going to trace it on the paper and then flip it over, butt it up against that line that you did with that one, and trace it on that side. And then you're going to cut this out, so you're going to have this. Then what you want to do is you want to take an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and we're going to draw or trace this shape. All right, we're just going to kind of trace the outline of this shape. You're going to do it like this, and then when you get to this, you do want to do a line, but a small one, or maybe just a little mark there, because we're going to use that to score it. It's going to be our box. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take this line and we're going to go all the way out, and that line measures 2 3/4 inches. So from there, we're just going to make a line down, and we're going to cut this all out. So we're going to have this. All right. At the very bottom, we have a little score mark here, and that's going to be our tab to make the box. All right, and we'll need 2 of these, and they will actually fit on the same piece of paper. See, you could make 2 of them on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So you'll only need one 8.5 by 11 to make the outside edges of the box. You'll do this twice, so I have it here twice. And what you're going to do is you're going to want to make your bottom of the box first and wrap these around the edges of it. All right, and so I have the pattern for that. If you want to screenshot that, that's how that's going to look. Okay, you could measure this from that line, 5 5/8, all the way to where you score it, and that's going to be scored at the 5 5/8 line is where you're scoring it. So if you measured a 5 5/8, you could score it and cut all of that out, and you'll be good to go. All right, next we're going to do the bottom of the box. So this is the bottom of my box. It's from a square of 8 and an 8 1/2 inch piece of paper, and we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch and 1/2 on all sides. So you see we've got the 3/4 of an inch and the 1 1/2, and then we flip it. We're going to do 3/4 of an inch and 1 1/2, 3/4 of an inch, 1 1/2, all the way around it. And we're going to cut the tabs like this. This is going to give us a double wall when we fold it over. And these are going to fit in under the other ones. So you have this tab here to go under this one here. Does that make sense? And so if you want to screenshot this, it's an 8 by 8 1/2 inch piece of paper. We're going to score at 3/4 and 1 1/2 on all sides. And then you're going to cut your paper just like this. You're going to cut straight, and then you're going to leave one little tab, and then you're going to cut straight here. This is going to fold over. Like I said, we have a little fold over here, and this tab's going to go under this. It's going to be a more secure, structured box for the bottom. And when you get this all completed, it's going to look like this. All right, and this is where we're going to put these. All right, so we're just going to take one on one end, and you're going to glue it. What I did with mine is I actually glued these together first. So I put a little glue there, and I put a little glue on this side, and then I fit it over the top of this box. And I kind of went from this side and kind of glued it slowly. So let's try doing that. I just glue this little tab here. And then glue on this side. I'm just gonna, I like the glitter art glue, and I haven't tried the Bearly Arts glue. I want to do that next, but I bought a whole heaping ton of the Nuvo glue. They had like a deal where I got like 6 or something bottles of it, so I was like, yes, I gotta actually get into that too. So we're just gonna kind of fit our box in here, and we want to glue this box together. So when it's all snug and good, we can take the glue and just kind of go on the edges. And you know what I like about Eileen's glue is when it hardens, when it dries, I mean, it kind of gets hard. Like this is a nice stiff kind of like glue. And just take your time gluing the edges. And some people would like to use tape, and that's fine too. I think it works just as good. I think I'll let it dry a little bit while it's going, because this is a really slow drying glue. It's not that slow, but it's definitely not fast. And just kind of make sure that it's flat on the bottom there. I mean, you could put it on the bottom like that. I don't like gluing on my board though, because then the grooves get glue marks, glue sitting in there. All right. just kind of, oh, I'm sorry, I bumped you. Oh, goodness. All right, so we just kind of mold it around and try to make it all nice. And this is just going to be a good bottom, secure bottom for your box. And I don't want to see any like openings, really. So the next thing we're going to do with our box is we're going to make a handle. All right, and I'm going to use my handle just like this. I actually did a circle or oval in both sides, and you could do that before you put the box together. It might be a little bit more simple, easier for you, but I actually ended up doing it after the fact. I forgot to do it with this part, and so I did the oval on both sides. So when it's at this stage, you can do the oval. Maybe you have a die cut that makes ovals, or you could fit a punch in there. I wasn't sure how I wanted to do it since we're doing everything by hand for these 3D collaborations. I wanted to go with, you know, a handmade kind of, you can clean this up by maybe putting some cute trim around the edge that's not too much, you know. And so our measurements for this is going to be 7.5 by 4.5. Seven and a half by 4.5. Let's open this up a little bit. Sorry about that. All right, so we're going to get our piece of paper, and it's going to measure 7.5 by 4.5. We're going to score on the 4.5 inch side. We're going to score at 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do 1 inch and flip it over on the other side and do 1 inch. And that'll give us our tabs for our box. We're going to fold it over. This is our tab. This will glue to this side of the box, and it makes this. And like I said, you can cut the oval out, and that just kind of makes it more of a handle like you'd see on a cooler. All right. So now we have our box and our handle, and we're going to glue that right in there like this. All right, so it's going to look like that. Now you could stop right there if you didn't really want to make a whole cooler and you just wanted to make a little caddy. That would be really cute. Or instead of this here, you could make use the different, what are they called, straws. Let me get my lid. I always want to make sure my lid's on there. And then our handle's going to go on one side and then the other. All right. And our next thing is to make the top lid. How I figured out how to make my top lid, the easiest way I figured is to make a 3 5/8 by 5 5/8 piece of paper. And on the 3 5/8 inch side, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch. That gives you a tab. And 3 1/4, 3 1/4. That's going to give you the other tab. And you can fold it down and fold it back and just kind of go back and forth until you get a good crease. And then the top one is the 1/2 inch one. It's a little bit thicker, and when you glue that, you're just going to put a little piece of glue there, and just right there at the edge, you're going to glue it. You're going to hold it, and then you're going to, when that's fully dry, you can move over to gluing this under that. And you might have to cut just a little bit off so it's nice and snug in there. And it would just go right at the edge. You see that? You just glue it like that and hold it under the other side until it's fully glued. And this will be already glued to this edge. And then it'll kind of do its own little thing. See how mine's kind of curved downwards? It'll kind of do that on its own when it's fully glued. And the other edge I glued to the bottom here, but I didn't glue the top. What I did to the top was I made a little flap. So I just did a little piece of paper here so you could pull it open. So you could leave it, you know, openable for your friends to be able to get their goodies. All right. And so, yep, it just kind of bends in there and comes closed like that. And you can decorate the cooler however you want. I used some really cute orange paper that kind of reminded me of the retro colors. And I did get a sticker that I made on my Silhouette machine. And I will show you my embellished box at the end. All right, so that's just one of your flaps. You're gonna need 2 of these, and that's 3 5/8 by 5 5/8, scoring on the 4 1/2 inch side at 1/2 and 3 1/4, and that'll give you that really nice kind of concaved edge there. Or you could leave it like the little caddy it is, and that's cute too. All right, and here is the front and back mat. You'll need 2 of these, and this measurement's 5 1/2 inches by 2 5/8. And I didn't think that I wanted to do mats for any of it, the rest of it. So if you do find that you do want to do that, you'll just kind of like lay it out and kind of like measure around it. But I think it turned out really cute. I've got a little pair of sandals I made myself, well, you know, with the dies. But I think it really turned out cute. I hope you guys... All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you guys make it. And I'd love to see your guys' creations. If you did make it, share your thoughts on my projects. And we have another one coming up in a couple of weeks. It's always going to be Friday, and we do skip one Friday in between, so it won't be next Friday, but the next Friday after that. And I'm not really sure what I think it is retro, and I have some really cool ideas I'm working on for that. All right, you guys. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and if you make this, make sure you tag me in the Instagram. I would love to see your projects. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Stay safe. Bye now.